Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. If you hadn't already guessed, I've got a couple of Walthers on the table. I've got a Walther PPQ SC, the new baby brother to the Walther PPQ M2 that I've got sitting over here. What these are both 9mm pistols, and it is the long-awaited concealed carry version of the PPQ, which is unloaded. And we'll do the same with the other one, and then we'll move forward. That one is unloaded as well. So the PPQ has been around for quite a long time, has an awesome trigger and great ergonomics and replaceable back straps. This is available in two primary versions, the 4-inch and the 5-inch. They came out with a paddle release original version, and of course the American market likes button releases like this one. This is the original paddle release. There's really not much difference between the two, really, as far as features and everything else goes. But it was optimized for the American market with the button release. Everybody who had a PPQ pretty much wanted a subcompact version of it, kind of like a Glock 19, Glock 26. So they came out with the SC. There's really not a whole lot of differences. It's actually kind of funny how similar they are. It's almost like the gunsmith one day got a new bandsaw for his birthday and decided to have some fun with it, and the SC was born. It does retain the replaceable back straps. Looking at the two guns, they look nearly identical, other than their size. You know, there's one fewer notch on the Picatinny rail on the SC. The styling is basically the same, just a little bit shorter. And actually, with the picture this way, with one in front of the other, you know, depth of field kind of makes it look like they're the same. But let's talk about the dimensions a little bit, because that is one of the big differences between them. This one is 7.1 inches long front to back, and it is 5.3 inches tall from top to bottom with the flush mount magazine in it, which kind of fits along this little lip here. The SC is 5.4 inches front to back, and with the flush mount magazine is 4.4 inches tall. So you've got 1.1 inch shorter and one from top to bottom, and 1.6 inches less in length. That's the difference between something that you really kind of need to carry inside the waistband, but is still very carryable, to something you can actually toss in your pocket with the appropriate holster. They're both 1.3 inches thick. They both have the same basic 3-dot sights. They're also both available with night sights, and the SC is also available with a photoluminescent sights, the ones that just kind of glow after they've been exposed to some light. They have all of the same safety features, both the internal safeties and ambidextrous slide stop slide releases. So they didn't take away any features when they went to the SC. And you'll see that the trigger guard and everything else is virtually identical. They've really done a good job of it. The other interesting spec, of course, is weight. It's 24.5 ounces for the larger PPQ, and it's 18 ounces for the smaller one. So they dropped about 6.5 ounces. That can be significant when you're trying to go from inside the waistband to throwing it in your pocket or an ankle gun or something along those lines. They did make the barrel shorter. The regular PPQ is a 4-inch barrel. The SC is a 3.5-inch barrel, and that was necessary to get the shorter length. Other than that, they really didn't remove anything that would be important, and they did definitely change the dimensions in a positive way for concealed carry. There are two contentious features or design changes. One of them is the extractor. On the regular PPQ, the extractor is external. On the SC, it's internal. And you'll see here at the back, there's a roll pin. This will make more sense when I get it apart to show you one of the differences that they had to do. This one also does not have an adjustable sight. The regular PPQ, this particular one, has a windage adjustable sight. But the sights are interchangeable. You can replace the sights on either gun easily. And now they should even use the same pattern sights, so that would be available if you wanted to get those sights. From a magazine capacity standpoint, the larger PPQ has a 15-round steel magazine, flush base plate, fits in there really smooth, and you get a full 3-finger grip on the gun when you're up on it. Really easy, really comfortable, well contoured. Of course, with the replaceable back straps, you can get it where it fits just perfect here on your hand. The SC comes with really 2 magazine choices and 2 flavors of one. So you've got a 10-round flush magazine, And then you've got a 10-round magazine with a pinky extender. With the pinky extender, you get kind of 2 3/4, almost 3-finger grip, depending on the size of your hand. And if you're up on there, it's really comfortable. It's got that same basic contouring and stippling pattern as the regular PPQ. And then if you go to the 15-round magazine, basically it's the regular PPQ 15-round magazine with a sleeve. And with that sleeve, it really gives you that full 3-finger grip. Neither of these magazines have pinched either one of us while we were using them. So the gap is well structured and in the right spot that neither one of us has gotten a pinch from either. Now there is one warning. This is just the regular PPQ magazine with a sleeve on it. There is a warning not to use the magazine without the sleeve. If you use the magazine without the sleeve and you jam it in there, you could actually damage the gun. And it does come with this magazine. You'll also see that there is an SC on the base plate. So you can buy these magazines with the sleeve, but I have yet to see the sleeve by itself. So that is a little bit of a limitation. They are a little bit proud of their magazines. They go $30 to $40 depending on where you look for them. But they are now available. The gun's been out for long enough that they are available. When it first came out, the magazines were very scarce. And that's a common problem with most of these guns. So overall, from the external, you really just have a size difference and a couple minor cosmetics, but nothing of significance. Now if I go ahead and take them apart, then I could show you a few more differences. So I'm going to set them down and then I'm going to start taking them apart. Disassembling them is the same exact process, and they're both very easy to take apart. You clear them, you pull the trigger, pull it back a little bit, which isn't 100% necessary. It just makes it easier to pull these tabs down, but you can pull the tabs down without pulling it back. And I've got the larger one apart. Do the same thing with the smaller one. And let's look at the frames. Now if I put the frames side by side, other than the length, you might be inclined to think they're the exact same frame. You know, back to the bandsaw again. And for most aspects of them, they are. They're basically identical. The only thing that you'll see that is a little different is the trigger bar. On the full-size one, the trigger bar has 2 little protrusions on it, right here at the front and here at the back, that are used to operate the drop safety. The front one operates the drop safety on the full-size gun. If I turn it this way, you can see them a little more easily. So the SC's on the top, the one I'm moving at the moment. It only has 1 protrusion. It's slightly different shaped and it's at the back. And then the full-size PPQ has 2 of them, one at the front, one at the back. I'm not aware of the one at the back actually doing anything. The one at the front is the one that operates the drop safety. Other than that difference, the length and those 2 things, I really don't see a difference between the 2 frames. If you go to the slides, you start to see a difference. The 4-inch or regular PPQ, which is in my hand down here at the bottom, has a flat wafer spring, a single recoil spring, and it is captive. The SC has the dual recoil spring that you've come to see in most other guns of this nature, the Glocks and the XDM series with the dual recoil springs, and it is captive as well. The barrels, we'll start looking at those, are very, very similar. If I hold them side by side, other than the length, you know, the length is always going to be an obvious difference. You're going to see that, but there's really no other visible differences. Same basic design, same highly polished feed ramps, and both of them I'll do them one at a time. By the way, excuse the dust on it. The hammer actually carries the SC, so it's clean and functional and ready to go, but it's got some pocket dust in it. And then the full-size barrel is basically the same, it's just a shorter version of it. So they've really minimized the changes other than things that were truly necessary. And now we're going to get into the difference. If you look at the slides, they are different. The drop safety is in a different position, which is less important. But you'll see that there's an insert on the SC, and it's on this side right here. And there's a little bit design difference at the back, and the sear is a little different. But this insert is polymer with a metal rail in it, and it's the stripper ramp, whereas it's a all metal embedded in the slide. One of the things that Walther really wanted to make sure that they did is that the new SC, despite being shorter, having less travel available for the slide, shorter barrel, had the same speed and function that the regular PPQ has. They wanted it to where you could go from one to the other and fundamentally function the same. In order to do that, they had to lighten up the slide, and this is how they did it with this polymer insert. Took enough weight off the slide that they could keep the same functional characteristics. That has created a little bit of churn. A lot of people don't like that. You know, there's polymer in there, and that of course created the need for this evil roll pin. But there's no reason to pull that roll pin out unless you're trying to disassemble this. You don't need it for a field strip, so it doesn't really present an issue in the field strip. And this was the source of a problem we had on the very first one of these that we had. This was malformed, and there was a little ridge here, and it was causing a malfunction. But it was a very first-time gun. It wouldn't even surprise me if it weren't a pre-production gun, because we had to kind of hunt it down online to find one. I have not heard of any instances of that since that very, very first gun. This one has run flawless. In fact, we even did a 1,000-round torture test with this, and it just ran flawlessly. So I wouldn't worry about that. I don't believe that's any part of a problem. And then to reassemble them, you just put the parts back in. Of course, if you've got two of these, make sure you're putting the right parts in the right one. You got the slides back together. Take the correct frame. And away you go. Both of these have been very easy to shoot. Of course, the smaller one, you're going to feel the recoil a little bit more. 6.5 ounces, less weight, shorter barrel, and shorter grip. It's going to make it feel a little flippier. But they're both very controllable. They're both very comfortable to shoot. And they're both quite easy to shoot well. Of course, you have bigger grip, bigger gun, sometimes it's easier to stay on target, but it's surprisingly easy to shoot this little gun. So if you've got a PPQ and you're looking for a pocket version, you'll be very happy with the SC. If you don't have a PPQ and you're looking at the PPQs, either one of these is going to do what you want. The only other worry that somebody might have is on the PPQ. The PPQ has an awesome trigger. It's got a little bit of take up. Once you're on the wall, 0.4 inches of travel, 5.6 pounds, really nice smooth trigger. Awesome short reset, a hair of take up, you're back on the wall, and then it breaks again. That trigger on the PPQ is one of the hallmarks of it, makes you choose that gun. So, did they ruin the trigger? A little bit of take up, you're on the wall, 0.4 inches of travel. Short reset, just a hair of take up, and breaks again. No, they didn't. The triggers are nearly identical. So when they went down to the SC and they made the few changes they needed to make in order to do a subcompact, they did not ruin the trigger. If I handed you these two guns and you just tried the trigger without having to decide to see the size, you'd have a hard time determining which one was which. So that would be the key piece. The trigger is just as awesome on this little gun as it is on the big one. From a pricing perspective, the PPQ SC can be had in the mid-3s and the regular PPQs in the high 4s. So there's not a big spread between them. Neither one is overly expensive, and you're getting a really high quality gun with an awesome trigger at a pretty reasonable price. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, click that bell if you do so you get notified. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and have a great day. Thank you.